Do you remember the last time you chose a bag, not because it was pretty, but because it reflected you? Not because it was hot, or because someone told you it was trendy, but simply because when you put it on your shoulder, you felt like you were stepping out of the house with a part of yourself carried along, neat, complete, and just right. Sometimes, that's a rare sense of peace amidst so many fashion choices that can easily lead us astray. Yet, time passes, and sometimes, we don't realize that the very bags that once brought us that feeling of confidence might now be making our appearance feel out of sync, or even subtly outdated. Not because you did anything wrong, but because you've changed. More mature, more refined, less interested in impressing, and more in simply being yourself. Today's video isn't about making you throw anything away, but rather a gentle invitation for you to consciously and lovingly reselect items that speak to who you are now. A journey without rush, without pressure. Just an honest conversation between women who understand that elegance doesn't come from owning a lot, but from choosing right. If you also believe that beauty is ageless, and that a bag can tell a very personal story, then stay with me until the end of the video. Because right after this, I'll share the first bag that might subtly be diminishing your sophistication, without you even knowing it. And if you see yourself somewhere in this story, don't hesitate to hit like, or subscribe so we can meet again, for the next refined choices. Odd-shaped or trendy bags, when standing out becomes a trap. Do you remember the last time you chose a bag, not because it was practical, not because it was durable, but simply because it made you smile? Maybe it was a red heart-shaped bag, metallic lips, or a colorful pop art print. Those fun-looking designs once made you feel youthful, vibrant, and stand out in a crowd. But today, if you happen to look at that bag in your closet, do you still see yourself in it? We all went through a phase where we wanted to make an impression. A little bold, a little unconventional. But as you step into your 60s, beauty is no longer about attracting attention with your appearance, but rather about the ability to be present in a refined, gentle, and profound way. Odd-shaped bags, those that follow short-lived trends, though unique, can easily make your overall outfit unbalanced, even childish. Sometimes they unintentionally scream, "Look at me," when all you really want is to walk with quiet grace. Have you ever wondered, is the bag you're carrying truly representing who you are today? Or is it just an unupdated piece of memory? Because when an item becomes the center of attention, you, the person carrying it, fade into a supporting role. And that's when you need a different bag. A bag that doesn't need to be loud but still asserts elegance, like a boxy crossbody made of matte leather, with a compact clasp, in caramel or matte black. It doesn't try to say anything, but that very silence is the most powerful statement. I know who I am. If you still have that fruit-shaped bag from summers past, that's perfectly fine. But if today, you want to step out with a new image, not to look trendy, but to be true to yourself, then perhaps it's time to put that old bag away. Gently, without regret. And in the next part, I'll tell you about a seemingly harmless type of bag, even beloved for its convenience in summer. But it's actually the kind of bag subtly diminishing your elegance every day. Plastic or synthetic bags. When convenience becomes an invisible burden. Have you ever stepped out on a bright summer morning, wearing a light linen dress, but carrying a shiny plastic bag just because it looked convenient? In the store, it might have looked nice. Under artificial lights, this type of bag appears modern, neat, perhaps waterproof, and easy to wipe clean. But after just 10 minutes outdoors, you start to feel the strap heating up on your shoulder, the bag's body accumulating sweat, and its glossy surface reflecting light blindingly. And then you realize that seemingly practical item is stripping away the very thing you need most in summer: comfort. Plastic or synthetic materials often don't breathe. They retain heat, create an annoying rustling sound, and can easily make your entire outfit, no matter how sophisticated, look cheaper than you deserve. Especially for women over 60, When skin is thinner and shoulder bones are more sensitive, the feeling of shoulder fatigue after a short walk is no longer a minor issue. An overly heavy, ill-fitting bag that also sticks with sweat can make your entire summer day feel irritable without a clear reason. So why do we still choose them? Is it because they're easy to buy, affordable, or out of habit, thinking, I'm just going out for a bit, no need to be fancy? But the more important question to ask is, are you perhaps carrying a cheap bag, but paying the unseen price of fatigue? This is a crucial turning point. Summer doesn't just need to be beautiful, it needs to be light. And the beauty of maturity isn't in complexity, it's in the sense of freedom you allow yourself. A tightly woven straw bag, with a soft lining, supple leather straps, and natural colors, doesn't just accompany you to the beach or a morning coffee, it accompanies you in your mindset. That you choose lightness, but not superficiality. That you are still present, but no longer carrying unnecessary burdens. If you've ever lived in Phoenix, Arizona, or anywhere with scorching summers, you'll truly understand the value of a bag that doesn't make you hot and bothered. It's not just on your shoulder, it's in your mood. And summer, after all, should be a season of gentleness. In the next part, I'll tell you about a type of bag that seems cute and full of visual fun, but actually makes the person looking at you no longer see you, but only the bag itself. Bags with cartoon prints, emojis, or elaborate florals. When your bag starts speaking too much for you. We've all found it charming to choose a bag with a winking pink cat, a flashy love print, or even an elaborate floral bag with striking neon colors. At some point, you felt happy carrying it, as a way to show you were still innocent, still a little rebellious, still able to be yourself, even as time passed. But then one day, you stood in front of the mirror, picked up that bag, and asked yourself, does this still suit me today? And sometimes, that nodding affirmative answer came from habit, not from true feeling. At this age, you don't need to speak loudly for others to hear you. You just need to be present appropriately, and others will quietly listen to you. Bags with quirky prints, elaborate florals, or vivid letters easily draw attention, but that attention is on the item, not on the person carrying it. When a bag starts to overshadow its owner, it's no longer an accessory, it's a distraction. Perhaps you'll think, I like it, I find it fun. I feel like I can still be young. There's nothing wrong with that. But ask yourself, are you ever trying to prove something, instead of simply existing with your inherent composure? And if an item makes people see style, but not depth, is it still worth keeping? This question isn't meant to make you abandon your personality, but to help you find a more refined way to express it. An animal print bag, like leopard, zebra, or snakeskin, when chosen in muted tones such as brown, black, beige, or smoky gray, is not old-fashioned. It's confident, sensual, and strong enough to reflect your demeanor without explanation. It doesn't shout about you, it simply affirms you. I know some might say those prints are boring or too serious. But the truth is, a print is never wrong. The mistake lies in whether it accurately speaks about you. And if you want people to see the elegance hidden beneath your personality, instead of being pigeonholed as a teenage girl in an adult woman's body, then an animal print bag is the perfect message, saying just enough and not a word more. If you still love those fun printed bags, keep them as a part of your memories. But if today you want something that can accompany you to gatherings, intimate lunches, or a leisurely trip, then it's time to choose a different print. A print that reflects character, not just a mood. And in the next part, I want to bring you to another option, more common, safer, but also more dangerous precisely because of its oversized nature. A type of bag that seems convenient but actually makes you look small, out of proportion, and lacking your inherent grace. Oversized, shapeless, less refined bags. When convenience accidentally swallows you whole. Are you carrying your entire house with you when you go out? It sounds like a joke, but it might not be. Take a moment and look at the bag you use every day. Is it big enough to hold your wallet, your reading glasses, a water bottle, a cardigan, eye drops, a makeup pouch, a notebook, maybe even a spare pair of shoes plus a few random things you forgot were even in there? Then what you're carrying isn't just a bag anymore. It's a habit, a weight, and sometimes a quiet barrier that covers up your elegance more than it expresses it. Oversized bags once had their moment symbols of power, ambition, readiness for anything. But past a certain point in life, the message shifts. For women with petite frames, delicate shoulders, or simply a graceful presence, an oversized bag does more harm than good. It throws off your posture, it makes your silhouette bulky, it causes you to slouch ever so slightly. It breaks the harmony of how your clothes fall. No matter how well dressed you are, a massive, shapeless bag can pull everything downward literally and visually. I remember watching a woman walk into a cafe one quiet morning. She had a beautiful white linen dress on, her silver hair pinned up, flats to match. But slung over her shoulder was a tote bag almost the size of a carry-on suitcase. It hung low, crumpling the fabric, pulling at her arm. What could have been an effortlessly elegant presence suddenly looked burdened. And not just physically. That bag seemed to carry, not just belongings but noise, distraction, and a strange kind of imbalance. It made me wonder, is convenience still worth it if it causes you to vanish inside your own image? That moment stayed with me. Because so many women don't realize how much their bag silently shapes the way they're perceived. We think it's just a functional choice, but it's never just that. It becomes part of the visual language we speak without words. And when that language says, "I'm overwhelmed," "I'm hiding," or worse, "I'm not paying attention to myself anymore," we lose a part of the presence we've spent decades cultivating. But you don't need to give up practicality. What you need is a reframe, a gentle reset. The bucket bag offers exactly that. With its structured base and softly gathered top, it gives you volume without overwhelm. Its proportions flatter the torso, rather than masking it. In colors like deep caramel, dusty taupe, or olive green, it doesn't shout but it always complements. A well-made bucket bag lets you carry what matters without letting what you carry weigh you down. I know it may not be love at first sight. Not everyone is drawn to its shape, but try one on, really wear it with your favorite dress or a tailored jacket. See how it shifts your posture, how it stays close to the body, how it breathes with your rhythm. You might realize why so many French and Italian women swear by it, not because it's trendy, but because it serves them without stealing the spotlight. And if part of you is still holding on to that giant, beloved tote because it feels familiar, comforting, then perhaps what you're really holding on to is a version of yourself that no longer needs to be carried. And in the next part, we'll gently face that truth. That some bags age not just in material but in meaning. And it may be time to let go. Not to forget, but to finally make space. For the woman you are now. 5. Old, peeling, torn, or wrinkled bags. When memories start pulling your image backward. I have a dear friend, she's in her 60s now, who still carries a soft brown leather bag that, by all standards, has seen better days. The strap shows a deep crease from years of use. The stitching is starting to fray in places, and the interior lining has faded into a pale version of what it once was. One afternoon, over coffee, she gently ran her hand over it and said, "This bag has been everywhere with me, from Paris to Boston. From intense work meetings to my first date after the divorce. It's held my confidence, my fears, my lipstick, and sometimes my tears. I just can't let it go." And I understood her completely. Because who among us hasn't formed a bond with something that has been with us through the seasons of our lives? We don't just see an item, we see a chapter, a phase, a version of ourselves that meant something. But that same afternoon, as she stepped away for a moment, I looked at her from a distance. Beautiful posture, silver hair in a graceful twist, a cashmere scarf tied loosely at her neck, and then that bag. Sagging, cracked, faded. It wasn't just worn. It was tired. and it was pulling her look and her presence backward. Bags that are peeling, torn, or wrinkled don't just dull your outfit. They subtly whisper a message. That you've stopped tending to your own reflection. That you've let something outdated represent someone who's still very much alive, evolving, present. And here lies the moment of truth. Memories are something you keep in your heart. You don't need to carry them on your shoulder. Because when you hold on to something that no longer serves your present life, you're not just holding on to the past, you're letting it speak louder than the woman you are now. You deserve better than that. You deserve a bag that reflects your clarity, your experience, your care for the world around you, and for yourself. Instead of that old, broken vessel, choose a tote bag with clean lines, made of genuine leather or structured canvas. Not too flashy, not chasing trends. Just beautifully made. A bag like that doesn't just carry your things, it carries your intention. It shows the world that you're present, organized, and deliberate. That you still show up for yourself. Think of it this way. The right tote doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be loyal. It should hold what matters and hold space for who you are today. With every crease in the leather coming from today's errands, today's moments, not from a version of life you've already outgrown. And if you find yourself hesitating, thinking of that one bag you swore you'd never part with, ask this instead. Do I still want to carry this with me? Or am I only carrying what it once meant? Letting go of a bag like that isn't the end of anything. It's the start of seeing yourself with fresh eyes. And in the next part, we'll face something completely different. A brand new bag. One that's trendy, cute, polished, but might be asking too much from you. So much, in fact, that it's not just a bag anymore. It's a distraction disguised as an accessory. Overly small bags. When a pretty bag starts demanding too much from you. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror, wearing a tiny, elegant bag only to realize that your phone is in your hand, your reading glasses are poking out of your coat pocket, and you're silently negotiating whether to carry lipstick or keys because both simply won't fit? The micro bag, so charming in the boutique window, so compact on the shelf, suddenly becomes a puzzle in real life. Not a compliment to your outfit, but a constant logistical challenge. And over time, you begin to feel it. You're not using the bag. The bag is using you. Micro bags were once the darling of fashion runways. They whispered modern minimalism, a clean break from bulky styles of the past. But for mature women, minimalism without functionality is simply inconvenience dressed up. Because when you leave the house, you don't carry a single object, you carry a lived-in rhythm. Phone, glasses, tissue, lipstick, eye drops, wallet, perhaps a few extras that only women with experience know to pack. And when your bag can't hold your day, the entire appearance of effortlessness breaks down, quietly but powerfully. Have you noticed how your body changes when carrying a too small bag? How your arm stiffens to keep it close? How your posture leans slightly forward? How your shoulders curl inward, not from shyness, but from trying to protect something that doesn't need protection? These aren't minor shifts. They accumulate. They erode grace. And the saddest part is we do it not because the bag suits us, but because we've told ourselves it's more refined, more current, more light. But here's the truth. Lightness isn't about looking like you carry less, it's about actually needing less effort to move through your life. A beautiful bag shouldn't ask you to compensate. It should complete you quietly, reliably, and without fanfare. Which is exactly why I love the baguette bag. The baguette bag's genius lies in its balance. It's slim, but not shallow, compact, but never cramped. Its shape slides naturally under the arm, following the body's line instead of disrupting it. The short strap keeps it close enough for security, while the soft yet structured silhouette means you'll never have to squeeze or force. It fits your phone, your glasses, your essentials without becoming a checklist of what you must leave behind. Even better, it moves with you. It doesn't bounce or shift. It doesn't tug at your shoulder or ask you to hunch. It respects your form and follows your pace. That's what elegance feels like when it's designed for real life, not just for a photo. I once heard a woman say, "I choose small bags because they make me look light." But I want to gently ask, do you truly feel light, or are you straining to maintain an image that looks compact, but quietly drains your freedom? Because if your bag is stealing ease instead of adding it, it may be time to rethink not just what you carry but how. If there's a micro bag still sitting in your closet, let it rest. Let it be a memory of a time when tiny felt enough. And in the next part, we'll explore a different illusion. New bags glistening, decorative, attention, grabbing that, instead of uplifting you, may make you look like you're apologizing for your past choices. Overly embellished bags, when intricacy becomes a burden instead of a highlight. I once saw a woman in a hotel lobby. Her silver hair neatly pulled into a bun, small matte silver hoop earrings, and a delicate hand-embroidered white shirt, but on her shoulder was a bag adorned with fabric flowers, tiered lace, shimmering beads, and a dangling string of transparent plastic stones. It looked like an item prepared for an 80s wedding party, accidentally wandering into a sunny Monday. And even though everything else about her was elegant, that bag told a completely different story. Excessively embellished bags, with flowers, bows, sequins, tassels, or even mirror pieces, often carry the feeling of trying too hard to impress. But at this age, you don't need to impress with sparkle. You need to make an impact with composure. Complex decorative details don't make you stand out more. In fact, they make the overall look messy, lacking a visual anchor, and can easily create the feeling that you're trying to force yourself to keep up with an image that no longer reflects your true self. And this is a point that needs to be acknowledged. Some items make you look beautiful, but some also make you feel like you have to prove you're still relevant. And it's precisely those items that should be reevaluated. The solution isn't to abandon your personality, but to change how you express it. A hand-crocheted bag, or simply a crochet bag, might be a surprisingly good choice. When made from durable yarn, with a clear form, a refined lining, and sturdy straps, it's not old-fashioned or outdated, as you might have thought. Especially if you choose soft beige, pastel, or earthy tones, you'll feel like you're carrying a touch of artisanal charm, soft, deep, and full of quiet character. I once heard someone say, "Crochet bags look like something a grandma would carry." But if you try pairing a beige crochet bag with a white linen dress, a neat bun, and leather sandals, you'll realize that grandma is very Parisian. And you don't need to try to look young, because it's precisely that effortless quality that makes you shine brightest. Right after this, in the conclusion, I want to connect all these small choices into a larger journey. The journey of reselecting an image that truly reflects the woman you have become today. What you've just done isn't closet cleaning. It's a quiet but deeply powerful journey, reselecting the image that truly reflects the woman you are becoming. Because fashion isn't something you put on, it's something you choose to tell your story, unapologetically. And at this age, that story deserves to be told with maturity, freedom, and self-respect. You don't need a bag that makes you look like someone else. You just need a bag that makes you stand in front of the mirror and think, "This is me." No pretense, no apologies, no hiding. Try putting on the bag you use every day, stand up straight, and ask, "Does this bag still say who I am?" If the answer is no, consider it not an end, but a return. A new beginning, lighter, truer, and prouder. As Coco Chanel once said, simplicity is the keynote of all true elegance. And sometimes, to simplify, you just need to start with a bag.